Speaking of NBA cities, we talked about Vegas and Seattle. I want to talk about kind of a smaller market in Minnesota because Julius Randle was just talking about how, it's very different from New York, obviously. That's where he came from. And all he knew about Minnesota was it was cold when they would visit, he said. But ever since getting there, everyone has made him feel welcome from the players to the coaches. And I think that is a testament to the difference between the small market city versus a big market and why some guys thrive in different markets than others do. I think a good example of this is Larry Markkinen. I don't see him as a big market guy, but over in Utah, he is absolutely thriving over there, and the city loves Larry Markkinen. And, from a team standpoint, it could make sense to move off of Markkinen and just go into a full rebuild, right? Because he's a very, very good first option. And maybe you're not going to win a championship with Lowry as your first option, but he's a good first option to kind of keep you in the running and winning games and not getting top draft position. But the city loves him, and Lowry seems to like it there. So I think he's a good example of kind of a smaller market and just being a perfect guy, a perfect fit for that team. He's just the city's rallied around him, and everybody in Utah loves Markkinen, and Markkinen seems to enjoy being there. And I think a guy that would serve well in a small market and kind of just being the guy is someone like Cam Thomas, because over in Brooklyn, that is a team that kind of wants to compete with New York in terms of, obviously, the roster they have constructed now isn't going to be competed with the Knicks, but in terms of, market share, the Brooklyn Nets kind of want to be a bigger team. They don't want to be perceived as little brother to the Knicks, and that's always going to be an uphill battle. But, that means that a guy like Cam Thomas, he's going to kind of have to step in line and not be able to do his own thing because the Nets kind of want to have a perception of being a lower-run franchise, just like the Knicks are. So for Cam Thomas, I think if he went to a team where he was just allowed to fully be free and put up all the shots he wants tonight, he would average a lot more. And obviously the efficiency, we can have arguments about that all day. But I think Cam Thomas would thrive in a small market where he's just there to get his shots up. But then again, the same thing happened for Jordan Poole, right? But I think we're seeing with Poole, he's more of a large market player because now he's over in Washington. And yes, obviously that's a very important place in our country. However, in terms of sporting culture, that they aren't known for having the best sports teams. And that goes on to the Wizards as well. And Poole has just kind of struggled with efficiency. He doesn't really seem like he wants to be there. Poole is definitely a big market personality. He was a lot better with Golden State, and he enjoys the spotlight, right? And as a first option, yes, you get the spotlight in the small market, but at the same time, you don't get the spotlight as much as if you were in LA. So for Poole, he's more of a big market guy. And so I think there's just a big thing in terms of small market versus big market players, and how it's not always, he's going to want to go to New York or he's going to want to go to Chicago or LA, right? There's also players that fit better in a smaller market, and I think Lowry's a good example of that. And Julius Randle, that's the whole reason I'm talking about this, because he, over in Minnesota now, moving there from New York, that's a big shift in terms of market share. However, the community around him, the coaches, the players have made him feel welcome, he said. And I think that is another big thing in terms of the small market, is kind of the community that can be built around it compared to something like New York. Because, you see it over in Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, back when it was snowing over there, it was real cold. Jordan Love, I believe, helped this lady out with her groceries, or maybe it was her car broke down, something. But the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers went out and helped her. And you wouldn't see that over for the New York Giants, right? Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be picking someone up on the side of the road, right? So I think that's just a big thing in terms of small market versus big market. We see it in jobs as well. The local businesses, those are the ones with friendly faces compared to the big corporate positions, right? So it happens in all facets of life, and I think it's something you can really see in the NBA in terms of a small market culture versus a big market culture. The big market, like the Los Angeles Lakers, they expect big things at all times. And, sometimes they just aren't going to get that. And so if the Lakers aren't constantly in championship contention, then it seems like they're wasting their fans' time. That's how they perceive it. And so then the team will go out and mortgage their future for a chance at current success. And you see the opposite with small market teams. They have to build from the ground up, and it creates a sense of community. And people love their players. Like in Minnesota, they love Nas Reed because they got to watch him grow and develop to be the Sixth Man of the Year last year. So, just with a small market, Julius Randle feels really welcome there. I think Minnesota's a great example of creating a thriving culture. They love their defense over there, right? They got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and the team rallies behind that. And this is a city that hasn't seen much basketball success ever, especially since Kevin Garnett left. So for them to have fostered just such a huge sense of community from the guys that, for the most part, they've drafted, their main core in the future, I think, is going to be Nas Reed, Anthony Edwards, and Jaden McDaniels. I think those are the three guys to really, really build around for the next 10 years. Those are all guys that Minnesota went and drafted. So I think Julius Randle, he loves community there. And that's for a reason, because this small market culture has been able to foster a sense of community, a sense of, shared belief in rooting for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's great to see how a small market can thrive like that. I think Julius Randle being vocal about it is really good for kind of awareness of it.